Have you guys ever noticed moments when you feel like overwhelming your business is just showing up because of the actual work itself, but it's actually the uncertainty that maybe you're feeling alone, right? And so today we're going to walk through a simple truth. You don't need more information. You don't need another thing, another tool. You don't need a plan, right? What you need is some clarity, and clarity is going to show up when you stop trying to build your business in isolation and you start gaining perspectives from others. So, we're going to talk about that here today. So, if you guys are ready to dive in, I'm excited for today and can't wait. We're here live with you here for Small Business Saturday. So, let's get into this.
Dark gaze, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. The power is strong, the vision so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group.
Let's talk some business.
All right, everybody, welcome into Small Business Saturday. My name is Aaron Montgomery, and today we are going to talk about something that I think every business owner probably faces at some point, maybe even multiple times throughout the day. But it's this pressure we put on ourselves to be perfect, to figure everything out, to go it alone, to lift ourselves up by our bootstraps, right? We're an industrious bunch. That's just the reality of it. But sometimes that gets in the way, right? Because then we're going, okay, I've got to go figure this out. I need the next template to help get me started. I need a checklist that's finally going to fix everything. I need a new plan, right? I need to spend all my time planning. And trust me, I'm a huge proponent of planning. You guys know this if you've spent any time listening to Small Business Saturdays. But the reality is action is where the real accountability starts happening, where real progress starts happening. And that only occurs when we feel supported. We do have that accountability. We do have that ability to have honest conversations that's going to help us clear all the noise that goes on in here when we're trying to find perfection. So grab a notebook, make sure that you share this with your friends out there. Let's get some more folks in here. Good morning, Barb. Thank you so much for tuning in here this morning. I want to just get into this and hopefully leave you guys with a practical, simple step that could change how you approach that plan, that building of the next step, right? So that's what we're going to talk about here today. And I'm going to get through this in a expeditious way because we're actually heading to volleyball here. I'm supporting my son here, number 11, Go 1-1. You just got served. He's playing volleyball this afternoon. So I'm excited about heading out to that. Hopefully you guys are having a great Saturday here and starting to wrap up your year. Maybe lots of busyness happening, which is a good thing, right? That's what we work so hard to get to. But hopefully you're giving yourself a little time here to also get right with your business. So 2026 is even better than 2025. All right. So we're going to start here. As always, we follow the formula of the fundamentals of business success here, kind of the fundamental formula of plant, prepare, and pollinate. And we're going to start with the mindset section, as always, the plant section. And I think the best way to look at this is let's really get to the root. Let's find out what the real problem is. Running a business and completely isolating yourself from everybody else is going to create confusion. It's going to create a lot of second guessing, right? You're waiting for somebody to tell you what to do. You don't have that extra perspective. And honestly, it's going to slow down your progress. And it has nothing to do with you doing anything wrong. it's because you're trying to carry too much. You're trying to carry too many decisions without any outside perspective. So, good morning, Keegan. Thank you for being here, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. So, when you try to look like everything's fine, right? Like, how many curated social media posts do we need? I had a conversation recently with a small business owner, that was struggling. And the reality was, from the outside looking in, you couldn't tell that they were struggling. And so we start to look like everything's fine. And privately, though, we're just overwhelmed. We don't have any energy. We're maybe even depressed. We don't know, right? You end up spending more time thinking about what to do instead of actually doing, actually getting into action, having that excitement and passion to fulfill that God-given gift of yours. And what happens at that point is your confidence starts to dip, and even simple decisions can feel very complicated, right? Like, I get into those stress and overwhelm moments, and my wife says, "What do you want for dinner?" And I'm like, no more decisions. I'm just overwhelmed. That simple decision of what do you want for dinner is complicated. It's just too much, right? And so I certainly know that feeling. And I still go, even understanding this, right? This is a daily process that we work through. And I've gone through those seasons where everything looked really good from the outside, but internally I was scattered, I was worn down. And what ended up happening for me is I started surrounding myself very intentionally, started surrounding myself with people who could reflect back clarity, that were open and honest enough with themselves that they could be open and honest with me. And I knew that it was coming from a place of love, not judgment. Right. And when I started getting that support, then I got more clarity. I started making better decisions, and I was showing up better for myself and the people around me. And so I guess the takeaway here from the mindset side of things is, you're not overwhelmed because you're not doing enough. You're not overwhelmed because you're trying to figure out what to do next. You're actually overwhelmed most likely because you're trying to go it alone. And and how do I know that this is true for so many people? Well, I see the stats. I know how many people watch this program or are in the entrepreneur success community. And then I also understand that of the thousands of people that I've asked, so every time somebody new comes into my community, then I've asked the same question for 6 years. What's the number one challenge you're facing in your business? And if you look at all of those things, it all comes back to some root cause of being overwhelmed or uncertain. But then the flip side of that, right, is, again, I know how many people are watching this or will have watched this by the time it's all said and done. And I know how many people are involved in the groups. I know how many people are out there. But do you comment, right? Okay. You're watching right now. Are you commenting? I think we've got the comments here. Are you in the Facebook groups and just lurking? Or are you being part of the conversation? Are you asking for help? Are you asking for perspective, right? Because a lot of times people go into the Facebook group and say, here's my thing. Here's my what I'm doing. Support my company. Okay. Why don't you support my company? Right? Like, that's not going to get us anywhere. Why don't you come into the group and say, here's where I'm stuck. Anybody have any thoughts? And then don't fight them on it, right? If they give you thoughts and you don't agree with their thoughts, okay, but they're at least giving you their thoughts, right? And so it's, how many of you are being active in the Facebook groups or even asking for help? I basically beg people to reach out to me. Like, I don't know of a better way to put it. I basically beg people to reach out to me. Let's do a free clarity chat. Like, I don't know if you guys think I'm this amazing salesperson and I'm going to talk you into something. Like, ask the people that are in the MOS group, ask some of the folks that have had these clarity chats with me, and ask them if they felt like they've been sold, right? That's not what I'm here for. That's not what God put me on this earth to do. If I was put on this earth to sell, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, right? So is it time for you to change how you approach your business? Stop the lone wolf and start finding a community that you can be a part of, that you want to be active in, that will actually tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, right? And then be willing to do that and still love and support you, and you will do the same in return, right? That's what it's all about. And so once we can get to that mindset, then we need to start coming up with our strategy, right? And I know the title of this is we don't need another plan. But as with everything, we do need to be intentional, right? And so a plan is really just an intentionality. And so what does real support and real accountability look like for you and your business? Now, business owners already have everything they need inside of them, right? We can easily search and find a template, find the information. With AI these days, I mean, it's even easier than it was, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Yeah, we need some ideas. Yeah, we need some perspectives. Yeah, we need some support. But what's missing is not the information. It's actually the confidence and then your follow through, the action, right? And so a checklist cannot challenge your thinking. A PDF can't ask you questions that you've been avoiding. A download can't remind you what you're naturally good at, right? So a perfect example of this actually comes from a member of the mastermind that I facilitate, and this is not the Masters of Success, but another one that I'm associated with. And in the call, she was somewhat frustrated by the fact that she was selling things, but she wasn't selling the things that she wanted to sell, right? She was selling bows, and she's a wreath maker, right? And so that's what she really wanted to sell. And she shared her challenge, and lots of people gave her lots of great perspectives, and it was perfect, and she got some great ideas, and she was moving forward. And I just, there was something gnawing at me though, right? Like I was like, there's something a little bit deeper. And in that moment of asking myself that, and I asked her, what was a pretty straightforward, pointed question, right? Like I said, well, your show that she does a live video every Monday, it's called Bowmaker Monday. And I just asked, does that teach people that you're the bow person and therefore that's what they're buying from you? Right. And that kind of hit her a little bit, and she kind of laughed it off at first. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm just adding a perspective, right? She knew that I love and care deeply about what she's doing and that she's successful. And she's like, yeah, but they know me, and they, the people that come and watch that show, they know me and all this other stuff. And so, yeah, cool. Meeting was over. Everybody was good. Everybody had their action items, their stretch goals that they were going to be working on. And we dispersed, right? A few days later in the Facebook group for that group, she posted a message, or I think it was actually in Messenger. She posted a message, and I'm going to just read it here because I want to get it verbatim. She says, "I'm over here eating crow. Aaron was right." And and my wife would think that that's like my goal, is I want to be able to say I told you so, but I promise that's not my goal. I think I get a real big kick out of the fact that I know people have it right inside of them, and sometimes they just don't trust themselves enough to answer that. So she wasn't eating crow for me. She was eating crow because I could tell when she was talking about why that wasn't true, right? That I could tell that she didn't believe herself, and that was okay, right? We all get there in our time. Heck, I can't tell you how many things that I fight for myself personally, where people are probably going, "Oh yeah, sure, Aaron," and and that's okay, right? Like that's part of the process. And so she was able to change her messaging, and her results shifted. She didn't need a how to. She didn't need someone that was going to give her the step by step, do this, do this, do this, because even that step by step would have sent her down the wrong path. What she needed was somebody that was willing to say something pointed to her, maybe a hard question, right, from love and support. And I see mastermind members get this type of honest value all the time, even when I don't say a word. It's really incredible to watch, right? So I'm not the keeper of all things perspective. It's the fact that people are willing to ask and then willing to be honest with themselves. So I think that's what real support does for you. It gives you a perspective that you can't get on your own. It brings you some clarity. And if decisions are feeling complicated, the best thing to do is just ask people to give their opinion, and then be open to accepting that opinion. That doesn't mean that you have to do everything that people tell you to do. That's not accepting. It's just willing to take it in and ask, could that be true? Right? And you might still say, no, that's not true. And that's okay. right? But what's going to happen is that's going to start working inside of you, and it's going to then start making you, huh, does this work or does this not, right? It keeps you moving without the pressure and guilt when you start accepting but not following a prescription, right? Like, we need to be inspired, we need to have that perspective, but we don't need a how-to video, right? Like, that's the craziest thing. Part of this is broadcast on YouTube. Most of the time people watch this on YouTube, and the search stuff, like all of my videos that are the most widely watched and searched are how to do this thing. Okay, right? Like, okay, it's there. There's a little step by step, but the reality is we don't need another how-to. We need the support and perspective. And because that support helps you see blind spots and makes decisions a lot quicker and easier and less complicated. So before I close with the practical step, I said I wanted to get in and get you guys back to your Saturday. Plus, I'm excited to go watch my son play volleyball here. I, I've got a program that I'm super excited about. Again, not a great salesperson, so I'm not going to sell anybody anything. I'm very excited about this because we're going to limit it to 13 people, and these 13 people are people that are got to be open to an uncommon mindset, right? And so we're going to have a conversation before they even get accepted into the program. um, and the program is kind of part mastermind, a lot of perspective, a guide work, a framework, right? We're going to work through the fundamental formula so you have all this stuff. But I'm really excited about it, and there's a complete money back guarantee. So it's normally $1,497. Before the 15th of December, the price is $997. And honestly, let's have the chat and we'll figure it out, right? I don't want money to be what keeps you from having a foundation. My only concern is that I'm fair to everybody across the board. And so we'll figure out what's fair, what's right together. But let's have that clarity chat. And so I just want to share a little bit more about that real quick with a little video I put together. And I think it's going to be worth your time to check that out. And then we'll come back and I will provide you with that, pollinate those kind of potential steps that you can take here to gain a little perspective. Whether you actually join a group, get part of the accelerator, none of that matters. I want to give you practical stuff that you can take away here today. So let me play that video real quick, and then we'll be right back and we'll close up today. Here we go. Hey, business owners. I know it's that season. Maybe you've got too many tasks on your list, too many decisions that you're trying to make. I get it because I've been there. Would you prefer to have more clarity, more confidence, and really be working on what actually matters for you? The good news is you don't need more effort. You don't need another to-do list. You don't need some magic system or some business guru to tell you what to do. You need clarity. You need alignment. You need a foundation that fits who you are. Enter the Business Builder Accelerator. It's a 12-week guided experience that helps you build a business that fits your strengths, your values, and your passions. You're going to get clarity, you're going to get a clear plan, and a stronger mindset because you have a true understanding of your ideal customers, pricing that reflects your values and provides more profit to your business. Your to-do list is actually going to shrink as you give up busy work and focus on what truly matters for your business. If you're ready to gain that clarity, become more confident, and be more aligned in your business, comment fun or send me a message. I've been there. I didn't need the help. But once I finally reached out and said, hey, I need a different perspective, that's when everything changed. All right. Well, you guys check that out. Again, comment fun, reach out to me. You can go to that page, osg.link/builder. Heck, I don't even know if I have a banner again. That's how, I do actually. Look at that. I'm proud of myself. Business Builder Accelerator there, osg.link/builder. And I hope you like the epic music too. I don't know. I'm goopy like that. All right. So let's get into this, guys. Let's talk about what we can do here. How can we gain more? How can we kind of get more without more plans, more templates, more tools, right? So yes, the obvious answer is join a mastermind group, right? Like that's my jam. I believe in that wholeheartedly, but I know I'm biased, right? But the reality is that's where I've seen people have the most breakthroughs, the most success. It's why I shut down my membership program. It's why I focus on building those communities because I'm a facilitator at the end of the day, right? And when people are there to facilitate and support and lift each other up, it's amazing what successes you can see. I mean, I can list off the people in the MOS group, right? I can list off all of their successes, and we're actually getting to that phase of the year where we're going to start celebrating those things. But these are big deals, right? Like I've had people say these are numbers that I could have never fathomed hitting in my business, right? Like it was overwhelming how big their goal was, right? That kind of challenge to overcome, or leaving day jobs, things like that. So uh, obvious answer, yes. Okay, I get it. But that's not what we're here for. I want to leave you some practical things that you can do, whether or not you join a group or anything like that. So I've got 5 simple steps, 5 simple things that you can try to do this week to create more clarity and have more confidence in your business. And the first one's the big one. And so this might be the one if you said, okay, well, I'm only going to pick one. This might be the one where I say, yeah, let's pick this one. This is probably the right one for you. And it's really just to create a point in time in your week, right? Maybe it's every Monday morning, or maybe it's every Sunday afternoon, but just call it what you want. But I would call it a clarity check, right? And then in that clarity check, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that, give yourself opportunity to just ask yourself questions and then have an honest answer, right? So questions like, okay, what worked well this last 7-day cycle, this last 7-day period, right? What felt confusing? Where did I struggle? Right? And honesty with that, right? Um, Honesty with both questions. And then what small action matters most right now, right? Like not long-term goals or anything like that. What small action can I take this next upcoming week that I believe could get me a little further along? And here's the trick to it though, right? Because we're talking about perspective, and I'm going, and you guys might be going, oh, well, how can I get perspective if I'm still going it alone? And so I also think this one's a little bit of a bridge, because it forces you to kind of understand the difference between your conscious and your subconscious. And so when you start asking questions like what worked well last week, what felt confusing, what small action mattered most right now, I want you to record the answer like an outside advisor speaking truthfully to you. And this is going to do for you is it's going to start making you understand that it is okay to get perspectives, right? It helps you move the emotion of feeling like feedback is some sort of a bad thing, right? And it's going to also help you see what might really be going on under the surface that we're just not willing to address yet, right? Like for those of us that are Christians or God people, right? Like whatever you want to call that, uh, maybe the way to answer it is, what would God say if you asked him, hey, what went well for me, right? Or you asked her, what felt confusing, right? Or you asked source or universe or whatever that is for you, what small action do you think I should take, right? There's a prayer for you. You want a prayer that'll work well for you each week? Start there. Right? And so I think that's a number one right there. Look at that, right? Like how can we ask those questions and have that clarity check in, but try to separate ourselves from the I ego to the subconscious outside party. What would somebody else say? Because we have to get to the truth, right? This clarity check in does nothing for you. It gives you no new perspective if you just go, yep, this is what worked well. Yeah, I know what's confusing, right? Like me. Let me do this, right? And say, what would somebody else say if they were observing you for the entire week? What worked well from an outside perspective? Where did they look confused from an outside perspective? What's the solution that they might be missing because they're too close to it, right? What's that small action that's going to matter right now? So that's the first thing. The second thing is now when we start getting into, okay, we got to involve outside people here. right? And for some of us that might be introverted, like I'm an ambivert, right? I'm extroverted at times, but I also need my alone time. I've got a lot of introverts in me as well. And so these can be hard things, but let's try it, right? And so the second thing that you could do is stop making plans alone. If somebody else doesn't know what your goal is, you're just a goal setter, right? I'm sorry to say this. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but if let's even go so far as to say, if three or less people know what your goals are, what your dreams are, what your desires are for your business, here's a hard truth for you. I don't think you're going to achieve it. Sorry. And I'm speaking this from my own personal experience. When I held these things in, I never got there. When I started telling everybody what my goals were, things started happening. Books got written, programs got together, starting my own business, doing all these things that I never thought I could do. Having a podcast for 13 years, right? Like that doesn't happen if I don't get the support and perspective from lots of other people. And so the first step is start sharing with people what your plans are, right? And yes, start with somebody you trust, but make it a little bit bigger, right? Like maybe you're already sharing that with somebody you trust right now. Okay, the next step is share it in the comments, right? What's your goal for 2026? Or what's your goal for 2025 that you're not quite there yet with, right? There's still time. Let's do it, right? And so even speaking your ideas out loud can show you a different perspective, because now you've got to go from in here to out here. And that transition process makes your brain make a lot of connections and start looking for different solutions, looking for different paths. And so it's going to start thinking about what's off with that goal, right? Right. So if no one's available or you're not quite there yet and you haven't been able to figure out how to tell somebody else, at least do this. Record a voice note and then play it back and listen. Listen intently, right? Pray about it, right? So I think the big thing here is stop making plans alone, okay? All right, the third one here is go out and try to make a connection each week. Add one connection point, right? And make it to where you can build a relationship where you can have just an honest check-in with another business owner. Like we do it daily inside the Masters of Success. And so we've got 10 people that can all have these honest check-ins together. And we've got a safe place for that to happen. But when you do that, it can really reset everything for you, right? And another great place to do this is we ask all sorts of questions all the time in the Entrepreneur Success Hub. Get in there, check in, right? Like somebody said that they had their best 90 days of sales ever. And how cool is that, right? Like I celebrated that. Let's get in there and celebrate that. But think about that perspective, right? Because maybe the question we need to ask is, hey, Jerry, how'd you do that? Let's talk about it, right? The getting in and getting involved in communities like the Entrepreneur Success Hub is going to sharpen your thinking, and it's going to get you more clarity and perspective than you ever had before. But you're not going to get it from the sidelines. You're not going to get it from just reading, right? And you're not going to get it if you're not even going in there to check it out. Change your notifications. Facebook can do that, right? You can hit the little three dots in the group and be notified every time somebody posts or whatever, right? Yeah, okay, it's going to be a lot of notifications, but you're already getting notifications about a bunch of crap that you don't need, right? Come on, let's be honest, right? Your Facebook feed, if you're not intentional with it, it can get pretty ugly pretty quick. So why not be very intentional with stuff that's positive, uplifting, and perspective gaining? All right, so that's number 3. And welcome in, Chandler. Thanks for jumping over here to the live. Good to have you. You definitely head back and check out the earlier part there. All right, number 4. Just take a 10-minute reset. Just when you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, you don't know what to do next, you need a different perspective. 10-minute reset. Clean up a small area, right? Oh, let me get my papers sorted out here. Let me get my books stacked back the way that I need them. I got too many notes around here. Let me get a couple of those Post-it notes and go, oh, I've actually completed that, or I need to get that into my to-do list. right? Maybe it's going and decluttering your email box, right? I will say by the end of the day, as long as I can get some time at the volleyball tournament to get on my phone and clear out the last few emails, I will be back to inbox zero, right? And that's not a brag. That's not me going, oh, look at me, I can go inbox zero. It's me saying this is important, it's intentional. And now my mind's free of the clutter of all of the different things that I'm thinking about that I'm like, oh, I need to respond to them, or, oh, I was interested in that thing that I got, right? So just 10-minute reset, clean, do something that just organizes your space, your world, and that's going to give you more perspective. Because once that stuff's clean, now you can go, oh, well, what could fit in here? What's the next idea that I want to write on my notepad here? Right? And that 10 minutes of focus, it's going to build momentum for you, and it's going to break that feeling of stuck. And here's the secret about this, why this works, is you're showing your subconscious the support that it's looking for by clearing the clutter, right? And therefore, while you focus on clearing the clutter, your subconscious is going, oh, thank you, that was overwhelming, that was just too much to try to take in. And so while you're doing that, while I'm cleaning up the space, my subconscious is going, there's that problem, there's that solution that we've been missing, right? And it's going to go to work for you because you've done that 10-minute reset. And then the last one, and this might be the most difficult one, is to ask a question that you've been avoiding, right? Send the message, have the hard conversation, ask for somebody to review your product or service. Go back to the person that said no and ask why. Reach out to, oh, mean, scary me. Not true, by the way. I'm a jokester. I'm a silly guy. I love to have fun, and I love to support you. I got a message just the other day, and I'm going to go find it because it really meant something to me. It meant something very deeply to me. And so I want to read it to you and get it exactly right here. So give me 1 second. I didn't pull it up. This is just off the cuff here. Where are you? Right there. Nope. Come on now. There it is. I was looking at the wrong folder here. So excuse me 1 second. I promise. Okay. And again, this is not a brag. This is what they said. And so it made my day. And I want to share this with you because this is what I was put on this earth to do. And so you can hopefully see how maybe just reach out to me is what you could use to gain that perspective. All right. So this person said, you're so sweet and so encouraging, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the nice things that you've said. I'm sure I'll be reaching out as I keep moving forward and learning more. I'm grateful for all the support. Right? And not somebody that's a customer, a mastermind member. It's just somebody that was on Facebook saying, hey, I'm struggling. I need some feedback. And I said, man, they're willing to ask for help, right? They were building their website. And so I went in and I combed through every page of the website. I gave a nice long list of all of these suggestions of, hey, here's what I'm loving. Here's some things that, I might do a little bit differently. And hopefully that helps. Let me know what else you need. Right. And then came back and was more open about some of the real challenges and things like that. And I came back with some other ideas and some other thoughts and just said, hey, give yourself a break. You're doing awesome. Congratulations, right? Like building a website's no easy feat for even the experts, right? So anyhow, the reality is you gotta reach out. You gotta do that uncomfortable thing. And here's the nice part about doing those things, taking that one step to have that hard conversation, ask for the review, reach out for help, is that's going to change your direction really quickly. Because again, your subconscious is seeing you take action, and you're also showing yourself support in that, right? You're getting some clarity. And honestly, that momentum right there, just that one little thing, ask that question that you've been avoiding, is the momentum that could grease the rails, so to speak, and relieve the overwhelm that you might be feeling. And clarity becomes so much easier when we stop doing everything alone and we start understanding that success is a team sport, and we connect with people who understand us, right? Because we've spent enough time building a relationship to have that understanding. And then also, the last thing here is just understand that support comes from your own internal voice too, right? So if you've got an internal voice that's really beating you up, I understand, right? I struggle with that daily. Not nearly as bad as I did 5 years ago, but it's part of human nature. But we can be intentional. We can get a hold of it by going, no, thank you, devil mean person, right? I'm flicking the devil off there and saying, okay, yeah, you know what? I'm not being egotistical. I'm not being right. These are things that other people have shared. These are outside perspectives that I've been willing to get. And when I share that with you, now that voice changes, right? But I have to be intentional about that. All right. So as we close up here, I just want you guys to understand that. Hi, Angie. How are you? Good to see you here. I just want you guys to feel this as much as I do, that support's not a luxury, right? It is the foundation that keeps your business aligned and moving forward. Like, no matter how successful you are, success will always be a team sport, and you're going to need that support system, right? Like, yes, you might have employees or, other people, your partners and things like that. But the reality is you need an outside perspective. And when you have those people in your corner, your confidence starts growing, your decisions get easier, and your path's going to become clearer. So if you want to see what that deep support could look like, right, and in a money back guarantee, no risk, other than putting some time into working on your business, and you're ready to build a business that you believe that you are meant to build, then go to this link right here, osg.link/builder. Check out the Business Builder Accelerator, hit that button that says free clarity chat. Pick a time that works for you. If you don't find a time on there, reach out to me. And this is a program designed. I'm so excited about it. I'm so proud of what I've learned over the last 6 to 8 years, right? Since 2018, when I ended up in the hospital with that hypertensive crisis. I'm so proud of where this has come that I can't wait to see other people utilize these ideas to have clarity, alignment, and really a community that's going to move them forward. So that's it for today. Next week, we are going to talk about something owners ask me all the time, actually. And I didn't realize that I kind of maybe had a little bit of a superpower here until somebody told me that, right? And so I want to share that with you guys. And yep, there you go. Thank you, Angie. osg.link/builder. Appreciate you sharing that out there. But next week, I'm going to talk about how to discover what your customers really are saying to you by listening to the conversations that you're already having with them, right? A trick here is maybe get on a Zoom and record it, right? So you can actually dig into the terminology that you're using. And so I want to share what I've learned about that, about really listening. And I hope this is going to be really practical and eye-opening for anybody that tunes in next week. So next Sunday at noon, we'll be back for Small Business Saturday. And we're going to talk about discovering what your customers really want by listening to the conversations that you're already having. So I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for checking out the Small Business Saturday. Make sure that you share this with others, like and subscribe like they always say. And we will see you guys again next week.
Dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we grow